Welcome to
What?
The game.
Me.
To me.
All right, there we go. We live back with another live episode of What the Game Means to Me. I'm your host, of course, Jelani Brown. Got a real special guest in the building today. Go back apple tree days. I was like, forgot that probably my first friend ever I ever made. So it says special guest today, Kyle-Cerge Henderson. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, like standout player from Georgia Tech. Nose tackle and everything, number 54. But like I said, I'm gonna give him the chance to introduce himself. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. How you been?
Pretty good. Like I said, just chilling, quarantine life.
Right.
Glad I got you on today, man. Like I said, it's a loaded episode. Got a lot of questions for you. Been a lot of news surrounding the NCAA and everything.
Right.
So I definitely just wanted to get your take and opinion on it all, since you just left a ACC, powerhouse, right. Georgia Tech. So before I get into anything, of course, I just wanted to show the audience and everybody, of course, what you all about, just the heart and effort that you put into the game. So got a little video that I want to display for everybody. Let me see. There we go.
Georgia Institute of Technology, Georgia Tech.
I want you to tell me where your heart at. I want you to tell me every place where your heart at.
Right the video, maybe depend on my mood. More bookies and payments than shit ain't got huge. Hop in the spaceship, take it to the moon. Cold hearts on my face just to help me look cool. They wet, we don't gotta use lube. Good head on her shoulder like she still in school. Fofos in my soda, I won't catch a flu. Loyalty mandatory, you part of this crew. Spending addition 2,000 on shoes. Spend with no limit, 100 on jewels. Too many bitches, they coming in twos. I took a perk, I bet itches is known. Why the broke is the loudest in the room? Why all of a sudden won't be cool? Ain't giving second chances, ain't no fool. I'm out my depression, life been going smooth. Vibes in my session, backing through the roof. You gon' make some money, book me for a show. Most of my classmates thought I was a joke. Now look at their faces, I done gave them hope. New phantom, I'm like I need me one of those. I built my name up to help the business grow. She f***ed up without no. I'm stacking these Benjamins, try not the boss. Bought some exclusive drip on Melrose. Just gave my cousin elbow. Locked them up, put them in a hole. And hope that he riding out a meal, dude. Ain't seen him since my first year of high school. I'ma pay his way out for about $1 million or 2. 10 years riding out, make sure he has some food. I hear that down, I look what we could do. Right the video, maybe depend on my mood. More bookies and payments than shit ain't got huge. Hop in the spaceship, take it to the moon. Cold hearts on my face just to help me look cool. Her stay wet, we don't gotta use lube. Good head on her shoulder like she still in school. Fofos in my soda, I won't catch a flu. Loyalty mandatory, you part of this crew. Spending addition 2,000 on shoes. Spend with no limit, 100 on jewels. Too many they coming in twos. I took a perk, I bet itches is known. Why the broke is the loudest in the room? Why all of a sudden won't be cool? Ain't giving second chances, ain't no fool. I'm out my depression, life been going smooth. Crew full of winners, know what we can lose. I learned from mistakes, won't take another loss. Vibes in the sprinter, headed to the mall. I rock for the diamond, please accept my flaws. I'm being that money overall. If broke is your problem, cash is gonna solve. Issues ain't better, have some ball. Hit you or hey, you leaping like a frog. Making it hits, I'm feeling like a better. Brought myself a letter, I'ma stake it tall. Don't pay attention to these blogs. Ain't saying shit, I let this money talk. Diamonds on me, look like some glass shatter. My to keep a hard. Car got some custom seat they can massage. Convertible coming out the end of March. Maybe depend on my mood. More bookies and payments than shit ain't got huge. Hop in the spaceship, take it to the moon. Cold hearts on my face just to help me look cool. Her stay wet, we don't gotta use lube. Good head on her shoulder like she still in school. Fofos in my soda, I won't catch a flu. Loyalty mandatory, you part of this crew. Spending addition 2,000 on shoes. Spend with no limit, 100 on jewels. Too many they coming in twos. I took a perk, I bet itches is known. Why the broke is the loudest in the room? Why all of a sudden it won't be cool? Ain't giving second chances, ain't no fool. I'm out my depression, life been going smooth.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I know I probably brought back a little bit of memories and
For
everything.
sure.
Yes, sir. Like I said, my guy Kyle Henderson, some career highlights and everything from his days at Georgia Tech. So the first thing I always like to ask my guests, of course, the title of podcast is "What the Game Means to Me." So I always like to get into, what does the game of football mean to you?
Right. So, I mean, since I guess since we was in school together,
Yeah.
football has always been my number one. Like, school for the most part of my life, school was the number two, to be honest with you. So, like I said, football has always been, number one. It's just, I feel like it's the one thing that, when you touch the field, like nothing else matters, right? You're not, you're not thinking about what you're gonna do later on. You're not thinking about what happened earlier. Like it's like it's the tranquility for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Siri over here popping up. I wanted to see. Of course, like I said, I know football is a big thing for you. I just wanted to kind of get into, I guess, how did football, like basically, why did you pursue football? I guess like how that was like the sport you're gonna be playing, and then kind of what went into the decision of returning home and coming to Georgia Tech, because of course you could speak to it. Your days in high school at Plant in Tampa.
Right. So first, what made me, start playing football is I was just like super aggressive when I was younger, and my mom was just looking for stuff to put me into so I can get my aggression out. And I think we were in like a Walmart or something, and a coach actually for a TFL team was like, "Hey, does your son play football?" And she was like, "No, not yet." And he was like, "All right, come to this place," and it was I can't remember the name where the Tucker Lions used to play.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Come here on the whatever day it was at 3:00 and don't talk to nobody." So mom was like, "All right." So we showed up 3:00 and he got my name and stuff and her number and put it down on the paperwork because he wanted us to be on his team. So that's how I started it. Then what made me want to go to Georgia Tech was, well, how did I get to Georgia Tech was, when I was at Plant, I think I had like 20 something offers. But to me, quite frankly, I didn't know for a fact that I was going to go to the NFL, right? There's guys who without a doubt know they're going. But for me, it wasn't really like that. So I was like, well, let me go somewhere that education, means something. Education can do something. So ultimately, I was just like, I really couldn't go wrong with Georgia Tech, right? I mean, they're Power 5 in the ACC, obviously, and they'd had a pretty strong tradition. So I just figured, why not go to Georgia Tech, right?
Exactly. Yeah, like you say, get the best of both worlds. Honestly,
Exactly.
Football playing to get the best talent, and then is one of the predominantly known schools in the South for education.
Yeah, and you're in Atlanta, like you can't,
Oh yeah, exactly. In the
Atlanta's
middle
one
of the
of the
city.
cities, you know what I mean? Especially for black athletes and black businessmen. Atlanta's one of the hottest cities, so I just figure why not?
Exactly. The next question kind of leads into it a little bit. Of course, we're still talking about your days at Georgia Tech. While there, of course, you were recruited by Paul Johnson and then ended up playing a year or two for Coach Collins. So I just wanted to ask, what was the difference pretty much between the two coaches, even the atmosphere and energy that they brought, and just like the overall team chemistry, with the two sets of coaches and two different teams, obviously, that you played on.
So Coach Collins actually came in my last semester. I was finishing school when he came. So I'd met him a good amount. I mean, I've met him once, obviously, but we've talked a good amount, and it's night and day with them. Honestly, it's two completely coaching styles, and to each his own. I think they're both one of the best. Coach Johnson obviously has been in the game or was in the game for a long time. So, his legend status is pretty much solidified. But honestly, I think Coach Collins is a great guy. And I think, he's doing some great things, some amazing things for Tech and getting Tech to places that, a lot of people didn't foresee a few years ago, right? Because, like I said, it's just different. Coach Johnson didn't really care for the things that Coach Collins doesn't mind putting in time to do. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, all that matters is wins and losses. To most people. But I think behind the scenes, both of them, what they do have in common is Coach Johnson truly cared for you as a person. He wouldn't lie to you about anything. And I can tell that Coach Collins is a lot of the same guy. So
Love it. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, it's probably. I guess it's kind of like you say, they pretty much like same behind doors, but obviously, I guess like to the naked eye, like people like me or others that obviously are in the program, it's like honestly old school versus new school. Like you
Right.
see when
Exactly.
Coach Collins come in, pretty much just bring that swag or whatever. You
Right.
guys started basically posting different videos. I'm all the time seeing, I think it's a linebacker coach or something like that. It's always on or ESPN, like sports center, little social medias or whatever, for doing all the
Yeah.
crazy stuff
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're doing. Yeah.
Coach Thacker. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And then
Yeah.
just the graphics and everything, like, putting the city of Atlanta on like forefront, like, hey, like, it's Atlanta, like we all know it, it's about hip hop. You said businesses is kind of like, the New York City of the South or whatever. So it's like
Right.
he's starting to push like that narrative and everything. Y'all starting to get, some big time recruits, some top recruits. So what
Right.
do you see? I guess where do you see them being in the next maybe 2 or 3 years?
Man, honestly, I see Tech finishing the next 2 years. I think next year they'll finish top 25. Hoping that we have a season, and then I think the year after that and foregoing, I think they'll be a top 15 team, just off of the different things that they are doing on campus and what Coach Collins is doing in recruiting. And like you said, there's just so much going for both the city of Atlanta and Georgia Tech at the same time, because there's always something, right? So now Coach Collins is making it a little different, and emphasizing the different things that you can do around the city and the different things that Tech offers, right? Like when Coach Johnson was there, it was pretty much city, and you get to play football, right? You get to get a great education. But now it's like Atlanta, Adidas. We got a new locker room.
Yep.
It's a lot, So I think like I said, I expect some really good things. I'd be shocked if there wasn't a top 10 season within the next 3 years and top 5, years after that. So
exactly. Yep.
right.
So I've been to a few games over the last few years. Actually, no, last year I went to a few games.
Right.
I was in the stadium and everything. And they got the potential. They got the players. They just got to. I guess it honestly just takes obviously time to put in a whole new system. Like you said, you guys went from, or especially on the offensive end, went from triple option to spread like pretty much all the other teams. So and actually that I guess brings up a question, since I'm already on it. I'll ask one of my guys, Chris LeBron. He wanted to ask a question as well. I ask my podcast guys if they had some questions for you, but he wanted to basically ask, how was it going against a triple option in practice?
So
like the adjustment, I guess, because I'm pretty sure I went against that, and then of course you guys play teams more likely that plays or ran spread offenses. So
right, yeah. I mean, honestly, the triple option was obviously it was there were pros and cons, right? One of the main pros was it got us as D linemen and really the front seven. You had to be so quick with your vision, your eyes, and your hands, right? Because if you're about to get cut by the guard, for me, example, like I was a nose tackle, so if I'm about to get cut by the guard, I got to see that quick, and I got to know like the fullback is probably going to hit right behind it, right? So it made us literally. It was very hard to cut block us when it came to regular games because we were so used to defeating the cut. So I think that and learning how to pursue were like the biggest pros, because in the triple option, there's a toss, right? You can catch that toss before it even gets to the line of scrimmage if you haul ass. So a lot of times we were just like, bro, just run, like just get there. You never know what's gonna happen. So then when we play regular teams and spread happens, they're running the ball or doing a short throw, and the defense line was right there because we're getting used to turning and running. But one of the cons I'd say was lack of pass rushing. Like experience with pass rushing in practice. Because when they did pass, it wasn't like a traditional offensive lineman taking a couple steps backwards. It was like they were faking a run, and they were right in your face, like they weren't moving. So I guess that'd be a con, just to be transparent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I said pretty much that's how I figured it would be, because like I said, just two totally different styles of offenses, and like you said, offensive lineman, like you gotta adjust to that type of stuff. Like I said, them taking their kick steps back versus obviously them bull rushing and stuff like that. Even
exactly.
bull rushing and stuff like that. So yeah. And like you just said, you played nose tackle, of course, for
Mhm.
Georgia Tech. But at some point in high school, did you play defensive end as well?
Just a little bit. A
Just
couple
a little
games,
bit.
I would slide out at end if
Okay.
we were running a 3-4. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna just see. I guess the differences, obviously, the differences in the positions and like that
Mhm.
transition. Maybe like similarities or differences. When it came to that. Sorry.
Right. Right. Like so, you're inside. It's like things are happening so much quicker. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you got to know, like, all right, you got to know when you're going to get double teamed, because if you don't know that you're going to get double teamed, you're going to get put in the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but at end, you're rarely double teamed. Like
Hmm.
literally maybe 20% of a defensive end's career, he's getting double teamed. So like it's that, and there's more space obviously because you're not like in that little
Exactly.
clog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, right? Like it's still, you're still a defensive lineman. So your
Mhm.
approach to an offensive lineman is still the same. Your thought process of like, okay, read and run versus read and
Mhm.
pass is 9 times out of 10 still the same. You got to be lighter, obviously. You got to be lighter and faster
Yeah.
outside.
Like quickness.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Is there anyone specifically, maybe in the NFL now or obviously in the past, that you might have modeled your game after?
So obviously, everybody wanted to be like Aaron Donald, right? When Aaron Donald
Mhm.
first got into the scene.
Yeah.
But one of the guys that I watched a lot was Grady Jarrett with the
Hmm.
Falcons now.
Of course.
Because people don't, people see Grady Jarrett now, but Grady Jarrett in college, like he was a real deal, right? He was
Yeah.
surrounded by weapons. I think he played with Vic. I don't know. I'm not sure if he played with Vic actually,
Yeah.
but um, when they were in
Maybe
college,
like
but
1 year. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. But he also had Shaq Lawson,
Hmm.
and then also Christian Wilkins. He was a peer of mine. We actually
Yep.
met on a visit to Clemson.
Oh wow.
Um, Me and Christian got along great when we first met because he's just a mild mannered guy, same as me, but
Mhm.
he likes to have fun, same
Yeah.
as me. And we were relatively the same size. Christian is a little bit taller than me.
Hmm.
Um, but I like I said, just to get back to the question, I think NFL wise, I was looking at guys like Grady and Aaron Donald, and then on my skill level set or my age group, I was looking at guys like Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
He plays for the Dolphins now.
Yeah. For the Dolphins. Yeah. Yep. It's like definitely like, players, like I said, even just watching you and just watching that highlight tape, like I said, I can kind of see little things here and there, especially Grady. I'm a Falcons fan, of course, so
Right, right.
that's my guy. So
That he's a dog. He's a
the
great
dog,
player.
like I said, I was just talking about him the other day on one of my shows. I'm like, he don't get as much respect as a lot of other interior linemen in the league. And then I remember even when he got his little payday,
Hmm.
everybody was like, obviously like they was like, it's too much, like he ain't worth that. I'm just like,
Right.
I just
But
don't know. Like,
people don't see, what the front office sees, what I'm saying,
mm-hmm,
for each team. People want to look at the skill players first, and
mm-hmm.
then you have to be like extremely, bonkers of a player to get noticed on the D line level.
Exactly, yeah. It's like in that I guess that name recognition or whatever. You
Right,
said everybody
right.
just like Aaron Donald, but there's some guys in the league that like you said just that can play as well. Like I said, they just
Right,
could ball out just like him. So I
right.
said,
He's just a freak. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think there'll ever be another player like freaking Aaron
yeah,
Donald. Like
yeah, yeah.
he's absolutely insane. So to try to compare yourself to him is, you're doing a disservice to yourself.
Surface,
So
yeah.
what I mean, you're just gonna be like, oh, why can't I do it like this? And
Mm-hmm.
that'll just end up making you, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Comparison is a thief of it. What is it? Comparison is the thief of joy, something like that. I don't know.
The Devil
I don't.
Joy.
I don't forgot.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, what was it? I
You
don't
know
even
what I mean?
forgot it
No,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
saying that is how it goes, but my niece
Yeah,
is just
but let
like,
me see. Oh, I guess before we I guess head on over into like all the news surrounding NCAA, I just asked one more question. That was presented to me. Basically, just what was the hardest part about being a student athlete? I guess for you specifically.
I think for me the hardest thing was being a student.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, truthfully, I've been playing football for a while, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
playing, and I've been going to school while doing it for a while, but there's not a lot of places like Georgia Tech, right? I mean, the reason why when you graduate, people are like, "Oh, you went to Georgia Tech," is because it's really like that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I was about to ask. I was like, them classes.
yeah, bro, it's really like that. Like there was classes, to be honest with you, there was classes where we would be like, look, me personally, I would go to a teacher after the first day and be like, listen, I'm a football player. You know what I'm saying? My brain doesn't work the same way as all these other kids.
Yep.
But, you know what I'm saying, do you mind if we meet at least like once a week and go over the material just so I'm not like, completely clueless? Because you got to do that, right? Because there will be guys who will be like, oh, I'll just figure it out later. I'll just get a D. And then, they're on the bubble between a D and an F, because at Georgia Tech, most classes, all you got to do to pass is get a D because they're so hard.
Yeah.
So there'll be guys that, if you're in a bubble, right, and the teachers never met you, they're just gonna, all right, I'll just fill my quota. If they earned an F, they get an F, right?
Yeah.
But if you went to the teacher, first couple of days of school, like, listen, I'm gonna try my hardest, but I really want to be able to meet with you if I don't understand things. And 9 times out of 10, the teachers were receptive and loving that, the fact that you wanted to learn, or that you were willing to learn despite you having all these different things going on, because they understand. They're not dummies, right? The only difference is there's guys, there's football players who like do school, meaning like they just show up and whatever happens. And then there's guys who are like, well, I'm already here. I might as well learn something.
Exactly.
I don't got to be the top of my class, but I don't want to graduate and be completely clueless. So, like I said, the hardest part was truthfully just being a student.
Yeah. I was like, I can definitely understand that. Like you say, all you hear about is like classes tough. Like obviously, like if you get a degree from Georgia Tech, is it means something. Like
and like I said, I don't want to make it seem like Georgia Tech is just impossible. Obviously, because I got out of there and I'm no genius. But like I said, it really just depends on how much effort you're willing to put into it.
Yeah, exactly. And as a football player, obviously, you should be wanting to put in some type of effort so you can be eligible to be even playing on Saturdays.
Exactly, because I'm telling you, if you're not eligible, they will let you know. Like,
exactly. Like I said, moving on, switching gears just a little bit. Like I said, bunch last few weeks, just a shitload of honestly just NCAA news. Got different hashtags going, got different players that's starting movements and petitions and all that. So I just wanted to first, before I get into the question, just ask your overall thoughts of all the news that's just been going on in NCAA, and obviously because of COVID. Just your initial thoughts and reactions to everything that you've seen so far.
Man, I think this has done something for college football that was needed, to be honest with you. Right. So like I feel like a lot of guys in the past, it was just like a look, bro, just shut up and play football. Right. Just play sports, do what you got to do. But now, there's guys stepping up like, nah, I'm not going to just shut up. Like, I'm going to speak my mind, and Georgia Tech was, I think they handled it one of the best out of any other school, because they let their players like say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? If you got to get something off your chest, use your platform, speak up. And obviously, I'm not there firsthand. I'm just secondhand at this point.
Yeah.
But I can really see, there's guys who just literally say what they want, but with being respectfully though, like, they don't get on Twitter and cuss people out. But it's like, look, I'm a human just like you, right? I got an opinion. Just because I play sports or I'm an amateur doesn't mean I can't speak my mind. So I think without COVID and the things that have been going on this year, I just don't see college players stepping up and using their platform and using their voice like they have this year. So I think it's a positive. And this is probably going to come up like, do I think guys should play or not? But like, to me, man, it's like I'm not out there, right? I think everybody who likes football would love for there to be a season. But I feel like there should be a system. Like if guys want to play, like, cool, let them play. Guys who don't want to play, there should be no punishment.
Exactly.
Because this is something that this generation hasn't faced before. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. Like, I had a debate with a Georgia Tech fan on Twitter. It was a respectful debate. He's a great guy. But he felt like, it should be the fans' choice or the ticket holders' choice whether they play or not.
He said that?
in a way, in short.
Yeah.
And to me, it was just like, yeah, well, you might pay for this, that, and the third, but none of that is going to help a student athlete if he gets coronavirus and he has asthma and he's on his deathbed. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because you want to watch them play football.
Exactly.
But like I said, I can't. I honestly can't speak an opinion of whether or not they should or should not play because I'm not going to be out there. I
Yep.
feel like anybody who has a like an offhand on things should just respect what the guys want. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I was gonna kind of get into it with the Pac-12, but just the second what you said. Obviously, I follow you on Twitter, and then I follow. I think it was only a teammate for maybe like a year, but Avery Showell, he of course plays with Georgia Tech as well right now, in the secondary. So I see both you guys, either retweeting the guys I played with, or just obviously people that play college football across the country. And just seeing, like you said, I definitely see a lot of kids now, whether it's they do want to play or don't want to play, they are speaking out and, just inserting their opinion and everything, which is, something I never really seen before in the past as well, like you said. And obviously they should have a say so, and, them putting their lives online to go out there and play, no matter, who pays for what or, what's going on. Like I said, that's kind of crazy. The ticker holder said that, but hopefully you opened up his eyes and, like you said, gave him a little realization. Like, all right, like it's bigger than
It's
itself. Like
it's
his life.
it's bigger than seats. Yeah, like and I don't think he was being malicious. I think he had great intentions when we began debating, but I feel like a lot of people are ignorant, and I'm careful with the word ignorant because a lot of people take the word ignorance in a negative mindset, right?
Yeah, we do.
To me, ignorance is just a lack of knowledge. Like you don't know.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people who are expecting guys to shut up and play football didn't play football.
Mm-hmm.
So like you don't know what it feels like. Like I can't tell a CEO to shell all his money off to his employees because I don't know what it's like to have employees.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people gotta find that sense of humility, especially during times like this, where you gotta realize, like, look, if I don't know what's going on, maybe I should just sit back and be quiet.
Yeah,
exactly,
and learn from watching, learn from reading.
Yeah, man. Like, it's you don't know what's gonna happen, right? And he also said, like, well, we don't know what's gonna happen 20 years from now, so should we just wait 20 years to let the guys play? Like, no, I mean, the guys that want to play, they could play. If the guys who don't, fine. I don't think any conference should have just been like, nah, nobody's playing, because that is a disservice to the guys who truly want to play.
Yeah.
But also I understand, because if one team has 30 guys, right, who want to play, and they're supposed to play a team that only has 10 guys who want to play, that game isn't going to look good. So I understand both sides of the spectrum.
Yep. Said one of the things, like one of the first, I guess, news that was popping up was, of course, like a lot of the conferences ended up saying like they're gonna only play play in-game conferences, or have an in-game conference schedule, or in-conference schedule games. My fault. But I think the only one that might have had like one non-conference game schedule was I think the Big Ten. Either Big 10 or Big 12, but they'll go 9 games in conference and then 1 out of conference. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts, like when that was being discussed, did you think like it would work at all, or thought it was a good idea to keep the season alive, or like what was your thoughts on that?
I just feel like there's no difference between which team you're playing if you're gonna play teams. Like they canceled the Georgia game for us, and for us that's a big game. Both
last game of the year
monetarily, and this would probably be the first year since I think like the 1920s or maybe 1940s where we haven't played Georgia.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just a little weird. Like it didn't make sense to me. But I'm not a decision maker, so it's a good thing. I'm not that guy, because I don't know how you say, okay, they can only play this team, and this team, and they're not basing it off of distance, because Athens is only 90 miles from Atlanta.
Exactly, not far at all.
So how can you not play Athens, but can fly all the way to Syracuse in New York and play them. That doesn't
Make
really make sense,
Yeah.
But also, I feel like, and I don't know, but I feel like it might have been a mandate perspective. So the ACC can control what ACC teams do. The Big Ten can control what Big Ten teams do. But, a Big Ten team can't come and slam their rules on the ACC as far as how they're going to handle COVID and expect things to go well. So I think in conference only makes sense. But the way they shifted the games was a little redundant. But
Yeah. Yeah, I see. And I again second your point because I was like, it didn't make any sense to me because of course once on the news they canceled, that Georgia game. Like, there's like that one because it's a big game, but the schools are obviously in the same state.
right,
Obviously like down the street from each other. In reference to like you guys going to go and play a Clemson or like you just said Syracuse or
exactly.
Virginia Tech, anybody else in the ACC, like that's out of state. Like y'all are going other places. Like it's like to me, like I said, it didn't really make too much sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I was like, why not allow them, just to play like said that game? But obviously, like I said, I guess it's because it was just in conference.
It's a control. It's a control. They want to be able to control it.
Yep, like you just said. So, but other than that, of course, another thing, like I kind of alluded to it earlier, like I said, was the Pac-12 letter, the letter to the Pac-12 from their players. Of course, outlining different demands and everything. I don't know if you got a chance to like see it or read over it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to kind of like get your thoughts on that as well. Do you think their demands gonna get met? You think other like conferences or other players in other conferences should kind of like follow their lead? Because when I read over, I was like, there's some pretty strong demands and everything that they asking for. And it's like I guess like thinking about it, like obviously the NCAA, so like much of a powerhouse of an organization, whatever. It's like when you read it, it's like, dang, they ask for all that. They can't ask for all that, but it's like they really can. Like it's things that should have already been happening. Like it was really rights that they should already be having. So it's like in theory, it wasn't even asking too much. So it's like kind of like, what was your thoughts on like I said, when you read it and what you saw, and like should other players and other conferences like kind of take lead and do the same thing?
I feel like it's been a long time coming for guys to step up and speak. Like I said, I mean, I feel like none of the things or demands that they were asking were out of pocket or outlandish. I feel like everything was feasible. The thing is like the NCAA might feel like, well, why should we do that? You know what I mean? And that's not okay because like, well, you should, because these guys are going out there breaking their necks for you. You know what I mean? People's lives have literally ended on this football field and made $0. You know what I mean? People's lives change and they make $0. So I feel like if they're laying out what they need in order to be successful, the NCAA shouldn't, or the Pac-12, whoever, shouldn't be like, oh no, we're not going to do that. It's like, well, why not? You want them to just shut up and play because they're getting a scholarship? Like, no, stuff doesn't work like that.
And that's just obviously the downfall. Everybody's like, oh, they're getting free, free meals, they're getting free, money to go to school. Like all they gotta do is this. Like that's basically the compensation. When
Right.
It's not even sweet like that for everybody. There's people on partial scholarships. There's people that got to obviously earn scholarships. It's just like it's different. Everybody got a different path, and it's like you said, like they're obviously bringing in so much, like billions, millions, billions of dollars, and it's like they can't allocate that to student athletes in some way or form. I don't know.
It's like it's crazy because like like you said, millions of dollars, right? Like, and all they're asking is for what seems like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But they're not saying, oh, give me $100,000 per player or anything like that. They're just like, just listen to them. I feel like the NCAA might be just writing them off like, oh no, they're gonna play regardless. They need us, and that's not cool. Don't get me wrong. Like being a D1 athlete at a Power 5 school is on some occasions very sweet, like very easy. You know what I mean? But there's also the grind that people don't realize. And that education is like, yeah, but the things that we can't do, like we can't get a job if we're D1, right? So we couldn't be able to pay for that for what the scholarship pays for anyways. So we pay in other methods. But yeah, that's a whole another conversation.
Yeah, I
Whole
figured.
another conversation.
Yeah. Another thing I said more just NCAA news. Just wanted to touch on, of course, the hashtag that we've seen. Of course, we want to play for the, obviously those student athletes that want to play. Kind of like you said, you already kind of said your thoughts on it. You can't really say whether they want to play or whether they don't want to play, but you say you should. Like they basically like the conversation just like cut it for everybody. It's like, all right, if they want to, they should be able to.
Right.
But kind of like I guess just like what was your thoughts on that? Like, do you think, I guess the students that do want to play, they're really just are they thinking about everything that they possibly might risk? Like you said, like some of them may possibly have asthma, get COVID, and you don't know how it's going to affect your body because there's so many different strands. You get a mild symptom of it, you can have moderate symptoms, you can have severe symptoms. You just never know how it's going to react once you get it. So you fully think like they're all kind of like thinking about maybe the consequences or so, or they just kind of like want to play, want to get their tape out there, want to possibly get their chance to play at that next level?
Yeah, I think there's guys who feel like they need this season to get to the NFL, and that's might be why they want to play. There's guys who probably truly love the game so much that they don't care what could happen, they just want to play. And there's guys who might feel like COVID is a myth or feel like the pros might outweigh the cons, and that's their opinion. Like I said, if they want to play, I feel like it should be, so be it. It shouldn't be. There's so many voices on why they should play, but there's not a lot of voices on, well, why shouldn't they be allowed to not play? You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Why are you getting upset that this guy doesn't want to play? But
and I forgot to actually mention it. Of course, like one of the things in that Pac-12 letter was what they wanted was, I guess, basically, if they decide not to play, they don't want to like possibly have their scholarship cut or them, get kicked off the team or everything. So it's like I wasn't even really thinking about it. That's probably a huge possibility. Like it's probably something that would have happened if that wasn't something that they outlined in the letter. For just one of the demand. So like you said, maybe that's also too why a lot of people may think like they gotta play, like because if they don't, they might just get cut. And all y'all, I know all y'all student athletes, everyone comes from a different background. Like it's some people that like super fortunate, obviously, like took the gift of football to be able to make their way, to school and be able to play at a school, because other than that, they probably went to college. So like I said, I definitely see and feel like those pressures and everything. So, but obviously the NCAA, this corporation, they probably not thinking about it, on that scale, on that level.
Yeah, because they don't have to sit down and get to know everybody or see where from. They're not there when a college coach comes into a guy's house and only his mom is sitting there. There's no dad, there's no siblings. You know what I'm saying? The NCAA doesn't see those things. So I feel like for the NCAA to make all these decisions based off of their general idea of how players are, it's not right. It doesn't make sense.
Yep.
To be honest, it doesn't make sense. Like it's just like I said, it's so much. It's like,
too much. Yeah, it's just loaded conversation. Probably could talk about it hours on hours.
It's so many. Like I said, there's so many different things that just it's like, wait, what?
Then last little thing I wanted to hit on was, of course, like I said, just the hashtag we want to play. Two players that I personally, I kind of saw coming back at the same time, don't know or see why they particularly want to play, of course, and Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Like I do see why, of course, like you said, athletes, when you're an athlete, like you just have that drive and you want to play no matter what, like, just got that competitive spirit, like natural. But, they're primed to be the top two picks, if not just obviously the top two quarterbacks off the board in this upcoming draft. So it's like they're really leading the charge, honestly, with this "we want to play" movement and their letters and statements and everything on social media. And to me, I'm just like, for some people that stand and some on both sides of the fence, like why would you want to play? Given the risk factor, and you're honestly almost slotted to be top 5 picks, both of them. So kind of like, what do you think? Like, do you, I guess, kind of see like their standpoint on everything, and like, I guess, how do you feel about like, why would they want to play as well? Or like you said, just kind of like they just got the competitive spirit. So it's like, of course they're going to want to play. Like, do you think the risk is worth the reward, I guess?
Right. I feel like, honestly, completely my opinion, I feel like it might be, they want to show NFL teams like, look, I'm down to do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can
As a
see
quarterback, you got to be essentially, for lack of a better terms, you got to be down to an extent, right? So the NFL is an organization that cherishes, falling in line, from uniforms to social media. You know what I mean? They want guys to be in line. And I feel like if two guys who could very well be the first 2 quarterbacks taken are saying they don't want to play football because of this disease, that the NFL really hasn't, spoken too much on
at all. Like, they think they're still playing in a few weeks.
Yeah, like guys are in full pads right now. Like, but if those 2 guys were like, I don't want to play, I think they might have people in their ear telling them like it'll look badly. To be honest, like you said, I mean, Justin Fields had a great year last year. Trevor Lawrence has been phenomenal since he started playing college football. Since he been playing. Period, I guess. So it's kind of they would have to be on the opposite side to get the NFL to be like, like what's going on? You know what I mean? And they're really just like, lost my train of thought. Like I said, I feel like they might be just conforming to what they think NFL teams want to see or hear.
See that? Yep.
Yeah. Again, my opinion, and I couldn't blame them because, hell, the football is a lot of money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you don't make the kind of money that you make in the NFL on a regular job in the duration that you make it. You know what I mean? Like, so I understand. Hell, if the NFL told me to, I'm not saying they told them to, but if it was speculated that they would want me to stand up and say, "Nah, I want to play football," I'd be.
Yep.
I would play football. You feel me? So, especially if you're the caliber of those guys, like. I never thought I was going to be the first pick or first round pick when I was actually in college, because I realized like that this shit is different. Like, there are guys out there that just have a different kind of gift, and I think they could have, if they wanted to, they could have been like, "No, I'm not playing." But at the same time, they probably were like, there could be repercussions. So
yeah, I can see that, especially like you said, just kind of like conform, like they want to show those teams, like, because obviously quarterback, leader of the team, like already honestly stamped, like you're the leader of the team. So it's like they see it as like they're saying like, oh, they don't want to play, like they don't have that strong like that leadership quality or whatever. So like could possibly hurt draft stock or just hurt like their chances of anything. Like obviously I think they go to NFL regardless, but it's certain stuff like that, like maybe a starting position wherever they win or anything of that sort of nature. So
there's a pay difference there's a big pay difference from even the first pick to the 10th pick. So I mean, like I said, I don't wish nothing bad on any of those guys. But I just want guys to have their own opinions, and maybe that is their own opinions. But to me, I tweeted this the other day, like just be your own person. If you're trying to be like somebody else so much, you're gonna forget who you are. You're gonna be depressed. You're gonna be upset with yourself. You're not going to be happy. So I really just hope they're making their own, opinions as far as wanting to play.
Exactly. Hopefully so. So they everybody needs to have their own mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Right. Last thing before I switch over, I typically like to end off with games. But there was I lost my train of thought as well. I forgot there was one more thing I wanted to ask. Lost it. But I did have one more question. I did have one more question from another person in my little podcasting group. But he was saying he wanted to know, like, how do you feel about big name players being granted the transfer waivers disproportionately to others. Like obviously big name players have that typically, I guess, get the green light earlier and then like even get that get eligibility to play that same year versus like lower name or not as prominent name players may I guess don't get the same treatment, whatever. Like they may have to go through more loopholes or whatever, to play that same year or even the next year. So
Right.
we just want to know maybe your thoughts on that.
Again, I think it's the NCAA like having a say so or an opinion in a situation where they probably shouldn't even have an opinion, right? So I feel like they want to mandate or regulate, guys transferring, but I think they should just sit down and make one flat rule. Like, look, whether it's you could transfer once or you could transfer twice, whatever, but I feel like for them to sit down and say that they're reviewing each guy's file or each guy's case in which they want to transfer and their reasoning is not fair, because there was a guy who wanted to transfer to be able to play in front of his grandfather, his uncle that was dying. And the NCAA said, no, you got to sit. And his grandfather or uncle, I can't remember the exact situation, ended up passing.
Oh, wow.
During that next season.
Yeah.
And they were probably like, oops, you know what I mean? But I think that's the problem when you have a situation where you got guys making decisions for guys they've never even met. Like that's not cool, so I don't know. I would hope that it wasn't a situation where the NCAA is looking at profitability, because that's a whole other conversation.
Yep.
Because Justin Fields was granted the I think the next year.
Yep.
And I don't remember what his reason was for transferring was.
Yeah, I don't either. Obviously, probably just play. Just want to play immediately.
Right. And at the same, and then, it's hard for like the kid who his relative passed after after wanting to transfer. I know he was like, "Dang, bro, like, come on now." Then he sees Justin Fields transferring and playing immediately just because he wanted to transfer. Like, again, like if they want to regulate or mandate stuff, they need to sit down and come up with a clear cut, like, this is okay, this is not okay.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah,
Again,
because like I said, just open up my eyes to something I wasn't even thinking about. Like obviously, like these other kids are seeing these bigger name players, get eligibility when they're transfers. Like we don't hear every case, we don't hear every student athlete wanting to possibly transfer and whether they get denied or accepted, or either whether they get to play that next year or not. But I would just like him, like you said, it's like it just makes you feel the type of way. Like you saw him, we get the transfer after the year was over and then immediately get to play that next year. Just because he found a starting role versus like you want to play in front of, family members that's possibly going to pass away. It's just like, and profitability, honestly, you're probably right. You probably hit it right on the head. Like obviously Justin Fields transferring, playing for Ohio State, that's going to boost their ratings. It's going to probably boost like their in stadium revenue, just like everything as a whole, like be able to put them on, even though they're still a powerhouse, but be able to put them on, nationally televised games more.
Right.
It's just,
because he transferred from Georgia, another school that's in the mix of making money for the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? But
and just
it's a business, man. It's more of a business than people realize.
It's definitely more than just black and white. Appreciate you, like I said. Definitely appreciate you for hopping on with me. Definitely, like I said, I typically end off with a game. Of course, with my guest today is one I've done before, but just called Top 3. So basically, it's gonna ask like little questions, and you can just give me your top 3. Of pretty much we believe is your top 3. I mean, it's simply like I said, I guess top 3. First top 3 is top 3 defensive linemen in the game. You can rank them in order, 1, 2, 3, or you can just top 3, no order.
All right, this one I'll do no order. Obviously, Aaron Donald is one of 3. I gotta say Nick Bosa is one of 3, and I would love to say JJ Watt, but he gets hurt so much. It's not his fault, but like shit happens. Like, God, it just keeps happening. So I'm gonna have to say Khalil Mack. So AD, Khalil Mack, and Nick Bosa in any
order.
Any order.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Khalil Mack definitely a beast. Let me see. Next one, top 3 offenses that you faced. It could be on any level, whether it's Pee-wee, high school, college, whatever, middle
All
school.
right. So number one offense that I would play, I could probably do this in order.
Mhm.
Clemson, any year that we played them was like, bro, what is going? Like, how are they this successful?
Yeah.
I think number 2 would be I played a team in high school called Apopka. And they ran this like spread running triple option because their quarterback like broke his neck at the beginning of the season.
Gee.
So they had a guy who played like tight end or running back play quarterback, but he couldn't throw that good. So they just kept running the ball, and they were absolutely astonishing. Like, God, I've never been beat that bad. And then I think, let me think, third. Damn, that's a tough one. I spent a little time in Canada, and I was on a team called Edmonton, and their offense was like what's happening? Like it was so much going on, but that could do with be the fact that I was a rookie.
Yeah. I was
Those are definitely top 3.
Yeah. Before I get into that, the last 2, I forgot. Yeah, I did remember you did play a little bit of ball in Edmonton. How I guess what's the difference? Even though I'm pretty sure they get some guys obviously from the US as well, from different backgrounds, different colleges. But what's the difference, I guess? Obviously, I guess in the schedule, just the football that's played up there, just like everything overall. Like I know they play less games. I think there's a time differential or something. The rules different.
There's
on that, yeah.
There's a couple intricate rules, like you have to be a yard off the ball. Like you have to allow the offense a full yard from first contact.
Really?
Yeah, and it's you don't realize how big a yard is until that's one thing. The second thing is there's 12 players on the field for both teams at a time instead of 11. And for offense, it's an extra receiver. For defense, it's an extra DB. And then there's a couple, like the field is longer and wider.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And there's only 3 downs, so you have like first, second down, third down is either punt or go for it.
Gee.
Yeah, it's
there's a lot of different rules there.
So they pass like I want to say like 70% of the time. So if you're not a good pass rusher, and I wasn't the greatest pass rusher, and so I didn't make it. If you're not a good pass rusher though, as a D lineman, it's kind of hard to play up there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because I know you're probably more used to the run.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a run stopper.
Yeah.
They just didn't, they didn't really need that in Canada.
So they probably got like defensive ends playing in the inside. They are lined up that way, yeah. So
exactly, literally,
a little different.
Honestly,
big change. Honestly, 12 men. I know the field was like longer and wide. I remember that. I didn't even realize there was only 3 downs. So I guess it helps the game move a little faster.
Yeah, it flies, and I think there's, like I said, there's other rules that I didn't really have time to learn. But it's definitely different. If I could go back in time, I would have tried harder to make the team. Like they wanted me to lose like an extra 10 pounds, and I wasn't doing my hardest to lose those 10 pounds because I didn't think it mattered.
Yeah.
But if I could go back in time, I definitely would have tried to shed those 10 pounds and tried to play some more, just to play ball more, really.
Yeah, honestly,
it's different, but it's still football.
It's still ball, yeah. And you miss it, especially when you're away from it forever. So,
but also another thing, you have to have each team has to have a certain amount of Canadians on the field, and certain positions you have to you can't play unless there's a Canadian. Like I think the offensive guard has to be Canadian. The quarterback has to be Canadian, and one wide receiver has to be Canadian. And then on defense, one defensive end at all times has to be Canadian. And then I think that extra position has to be Canadian. And something else. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't remember. Like I said, I could be off a little bit, but that's
yeah. Well, I'll say you can't be off by that much. That's a wild rule. That's wild. You think about even try to control because
if not, then you just have a bunch of guys who didn't make it in the NFL just come up to Canada and play.
Yeah, I guess
So
that makes sense.
they want to give preference over, to an
Mhm.
extent without being unfair.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but still, I guess even as a coach, I mean, obviously, I guess the coaches up there they probably more used to it. They know, but it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I need to have this one person be a candidate. I can have him be, you know.
They make cuts based off of that. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
they'll cut a guy if they have to. They'll cut a running back because they have a defensive end that's Canadian that's out, so they have to sign another guy. And they let guys fly. It's a lot like the NFL up there. Like, it's cutthroat. If you're not making plays, you're getting stuff done, and see you.
Yep, I could see that. My fault. Well, I interrupted the game a little bit, but definitely had to get some perspective on that. I probably should
No,
have asked
yeah.
towards the beginning because I remember you definitely did play up there
Mhm.
for a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize all those rules and regulations and everything. That's kind of crazy. But back to it real quick. I guess I'll end up last little two questions, top three. But top three favorite players of all time. I guess we'll more focus on football, and then you can just do overall if you want. I know you obviously follow other sports as well.
So I think top three. Ooh, small spit, wrong path. Top three football players would again, Aaron Donald has to be one through three. This is no order. Walter Payton was one of my favorite players for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I never got to see him in person, but like watching his highlights was like, damn, I like
you see his highlights.
And Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is definitely a top three player. Like, you just couldn't, like, that much swag, you know what I mean? Like, you can't beat it. And then top three overall sports. I think Steven Stamkos is my favorite hockey player, just because he's been with the Tampa Bay Lightning for so long and he's been so good for so long. Bo Jackson, just to throw it back there. I didn't want to throw him in football because I knew I was going to throw him in for baseball because Bo Jackson was a son of a gun in baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think basketball-wise, my heart says Kobe, obviously, but there's something in my mind telling me there's another player that I really enjoyed watching. I'd want to throw it to LeBron, but that's so cliche. So I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna get away from that. Damn, what's another really? Oh, Melo for me. Carmelo Anthony was like, whoa, like, bro, he is so fire. But
Melo, that guy, he helped seal the deal the other day for the Blazers, so they have to play that second game against Memphis.
Melo is
interesting to see him and LeBron. Tomorrow they play. Yep, tomorrow like 9 like that.
If Melo had a ring, he would get so much more respect. I feel like people don't respect Melo like they should.
That's true. Yeah, like you said, they try to try to bounce him out the league, but he can still play. Has some years in him. Easily has some years in him.
He got at least 3 more years in him.
Yeah, but hopefully, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna get it this year, but he definitely opened everybody else's eyes up to he can still play in the league. So hopefully he stays. I don't know if he's gonna stay with the Blazers, he goes somewhere else, but it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be definitely fun to see him and LeBron square off tomorrow. Who you got in that series?
I don't want to count LeBron out. I can't.
Yeah, even though Lakers were playing like runs in the bubble, but
yeah, but I feel like they just playing to get through it. Then when we get to playoffs, it's like, all right, bet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hopefully so. That's what everybody's saying and thinking. Hopefully it can just turn on like that. I know LeBron will be able to turn on like that, but the rest of them will be able to turn it on like that. That's the thing.
We're gonna see.
And then last one, I wanted to round it out. I guess a little bit of music. I don't know if you had like a little game day playlist or whatever, but top 3 songs that you probably would have on your playlist, before a game start.
I would have to look through my phone to give you specifics because I definitely have, a pregame playlist that I still listen to. But I think I'll do this top 3 artists, and it would be any song from those artists. Number 1 is obviously Jay-Z. Number 2 is Duke Deuce. I don't know if you heard of Duke Deuce before.
I think
Duke Deuce is up there. His music is definitely to Willie. And is that my phone?
Nah, it might be me.
Dang, it's crazy. A player just asked me this, and I couldn't give him a third answer either. You got to throw Drake. Got to anything from Drake except for the Tusi slide. Anything from Drake.
Except for Tusi slide.
Yeah, that was garbage. I don't know why he did that. That's garbage.
Yeah, like, everybody was hating on that Tusi slide. I was like,
yeah, nah. I wasn't on that wave. Like I don't even have TikTok. Like I can't. That's
so he just tried, hop on, of course, a little way, like you said, just need a little dance tune or whatever, something.
Yeah, I can't. Tusi slide.
Nobody was rocking with it like that.
Yeah, man.
Like listening to it, sometimes I get a little catchy, but I'm just like, nah. I saw what he tried to do with the little dance and everything, and I can't even respect it.
It's like annoyingly catchy. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
You have no choice to be like, right.
A lot of his songs annoying catchy. Even the one he just dropped is like annoyingly catchy. Like I've been singing it since he dropped. Like just randomly.
The only one freestyle or the other song?
No, that my fault. That laugh now, cry later. The one he just dropped with Dirt.
See, I didn't even hear that one yet.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like watch the video too, because it's like he just made cameos, of course, OBJ and Katie and Drewski.
That's okay.
Yeah. I mean it's cool. Like I said,
Drake does a lot of cornball shit, but Drake.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like he just know he can do that, and it's everybody gonna, or most people gonna rock with it.
1,000%. Like you have no choice but to listen at least twice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Like I said, appreciate it. Definitely enjoyed the conversation. Enjoyed having you on, your perspective on everything. Talking about your journey through football, all the all the news around the NCAA. Like I said, really enjoyed it. So you can plug in your social medias for everybody, to find you, follow you, maybe have some conversation with you as well.
Yes. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can post it, but
I definitely will.
It's KCH official.
Mm-hmm.
And, my Twitter handle is at Kyle-Henderson42. So it's just a little simpleness.
Yes, sir. Like I said, appreciate you having, like I said, for you coming on again. Definitely we're gonna have to do this again at some point. Maybe you can talk about them Canadian rules. I know that sounds like a whole episode.
Bro. I'm gonna have to look up the rest of them. I'm gonna take one of my boys that still plays up there, but there is definitely some stuff like that and a few more things. It probably is, but yeah, bro, it's always a pleasure, my dog.
Yes, sir. Love it.
Real day one love, bro.
Yes, sir. Always. Like I said, Apple Tree Day. I don't know whoever tuned in now. Like I said, it's probably was my first friend I ever made ever.
Literally, bro. We was like babies running around being friends.
Exactly. I was true. Great. I still be having little flashback, little memories and everything over there. So.
I'm telling you.
Definitely. Always.
Mr. David. We used to go to Mr. David everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's all about Mr. David. Yeah. Mr. David. I forgot the other woman name. I don't know if it was Wanda or something.
Miss Cassandra.
Yes, Cassandra. Yeah, I was like, I knew it was something around. It was something with an Anda at the end. Yeah, them days was hilarious, bro. Always a joy. Always a pleasure, man. Like I said, thank y'all for tuning in. That does it for another episode of What the Game Means to Me. Signing out again. Like I said, got my guy Kyle Henderson. Check me out on social media and everything. Where to find me, What the Game Means to Me podcast and all. So appreciate you again, and enjoy, man. Have a good day.
Absolutely, bro.